Okay, continuing where we left off, we're trying to write some a binary data. So I'm going to start typing. I need this thing called a data output stream. So data output stream. I'm going to call it DOS. Is equal to new data output stream and point it over to the file output stream. Again, this is very analogous to the way we've done it before. Of course, I got a thing saying, hey, you need to add a throws. Add an import. And now it's time to actually write some data. So I'm going to do dos dot write, I'll write an int. I'll write 12. Okay, cool. Ooh, what was that file pattern thing? How did that work? Because I want to be able to do a finally down here where I want to close that DOS guy. I want to say dos.close like that. So what do I need to do? All right, first of all, I need to grab this guy and make sure he's not in the same scope. He has to be up here and he has to have better scope. And I have to initialize it to something, a bogus value to start with. Okay, that's step one. I need to move that guy out. Do you see why? Because I have to have this guy at this indentation level so I can find him down here. And then I got to make sure this guy actually works before I do that. So I say if DOS is not equal to null, then I want to go in and do something. Okay, if you got a good eye, you see I've still got a red squiggly where it says unreported IO exception. I need to catch this or declare it. Now I don't want to catch it because I already solved the problem here, where if it's open, I know I can close it. But they don't know that, right? They don't know that I've written this part in. So one of the options here is to add a throws clause. Now what that did is it added it way, way back up here in our main. That's where it added it. So in this particular case, using the throws in this case is shut up. That's what it basically means, because I've passed the buck on to someone else to solve it, but in reality I haven't. I just told it that I've passed the buck because there's nobody above this that's going to help you, right? There's nobody above main that's going to say, oh wait, you've caught an exception. All right, that was just kind of a way to make the error message go away, which is kind of weird. Okay, so let's go look at this pattern one more time. Have you kind of sort of figured out this pattern thing is kind of important? I guess I should finish it off here, right? With some, something like system.er. Print ln. I don't know. I'm not going to waste your time here. Oops. All right, obviously a real error message will be a little bit more than that. Okay, this is making sense? Okay. Now, to tell you the truth, the reading from files, that is not that much more complicated. It uses the file input stream and the data input stream. I am going to demo this because it does have one important thing. So here we go. I'm going to say data input stream DIS is equal to null. I know how to do this now. I don't have to. I'm just following along, right? And oh, of course, it doesn't need an imports. Of course, I needed imports. And then I'm going to need a try block, and I know I'm going to need a catch block, and I know I'm going to need a finally block. So I'm going to go ahead and write those guys in. Okay, cool. So this is going to look about the same. It's going to be, okay, I need a file guy. I need a file input stream. So file input stream FIS is equal to new file input stream my data, dang it, my data.dat, using the exact same one from above. And of course I got, hey, you need imports. Like, yeah, okay, cool. Whoop. Oh, helps you if you spell it right. Cool. And then I'm going to need the same thing we did before, which is going to be dis is equal to new data input stream dis. Cool. So far, so good. And now I need to read from the file. Now, in the book, they have this horrible technique. I'm not even sure why they put it in there. I mean, I really don't get it. So I'm not going to use their technique at all because their technique is kind of dumb. Remember how the scanner had a has next thing? Well, this guy has a thing that says available. So are you sure that the file has anything in it at all? Not really. So I'm going to use a traditional while loop, not a do while, because I'm not sure it's going to run the first time at all. It could be it won't run. So I say while dis available is greater than 0. Okay, that's just the way you say, is there more stuff available? Okay? That's how that part works. And then, of course, you read the thing in and spit it out or whatever you want to do. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do a system.out.println, and then we'll do dis, and then I want to do a read. I want to do a read int because that's what I put in there, right? I put integers in there. Okay, so the exception is going to have something in here. I'll just throw something in to help to system.println. I'm just kind of goofing off right now, so I'm just going to say oops again. But down here in the finally, hey, did I get an extra one of these guys? Okay, I don't know where that happened. So finally, it's going to be where I say if dis is not equal to null, and then okay, I see where my thing got out of whack, and then I'm going to do dis close. Okay, this makes sense. So I'm using slightly different technique than they are. I don't know why they use their technique that they did. Okay, so that's basically all you need to know about reading and writing to files. I mean, binary files. It's not complicated. Just use the pattern where you create a variable up top, set it equal to null, do your thing, have a finally block to check to see if it's okay. If the file was open, then close it. If it's not, leave it alone. Okay. Now, on page 739, they talk about random access files. I'm not going to demo. But random access is kind of cool because when you open the file using this cool thing called a random access file class, it basically pretends like the entire thing is like an array of bytes. It kind of looks like that. And so you're giving like in an array, it would be called an index. Like if I want to go to position 4, I'd go to, right? Well, here it's just called a file pointer. It's the same thing, where the file pointer is. And so you can jump around. Instead of having to sequentially read a file one line at a time, you could go, well, let's skip down to here, and then skip down to here. Now, obviously, skipping around forwards and backwards kind of sort of implies that you know the record length. There's a fixed record length. Like, the stuff that's being stored here is always, 64 bytes long every single time. And that way, if I want to go to the third one, I just go 3 times 64, right? And gets me to where I want to go. Anyway, I'm not going to demo it. It's pretty cool. But the whole point is it kind of looks like an array of bytes. Okay, on page 744, they talk about serialization. Now, what this means is I want to take the employee class and I want to store it to a file. So that every time I run the application, I don't have to start over from scratch. Ian Bob Smith, is in the sales department. I want to have it remember that. That's a very cool thing to have happen. So the ability to save an object, any object, like an employee class, In order to do this, I have to add one of those implements thing. Remember the interfaces? What was the point of an interface? The point of an interface was to be able to reach back and grab some really cool features that didn't already exist. You want to implement the interface, a whole world of other possibilities open up for me. I can do all sorts of other things. So I would have to go here and say implements serializable. Serializable. That's a mouthful. And then I could use a thing called an object output string, and I could save this guy to a file and then come back later in, when I open the application, I could do, use the same object output input stream and grab the guy and reconstitute the class, which is pretty doggone cool. I'm not going to demo it, but it's pretty doggone cool. Okay, we have reached the end. On page 749, there's a pretty cool discussion about common errors to avoid. I would highly recommend you look at that. All right, that is the end, and I'll see you guys again in the next chapter.